Now that we have our player moving, let's go ahead and get into animations. The first animation that we're going to get started with is the idle animation. When the player isn't moving, he should be idling. So to create this animation, we have inside our sprites player underneath character folder, we have an idle animation. We need to go ahead and basically create a sprite animation from 0 through 33. So to do this, what you want to do is select your player, go into the sprite, and with the sprite selected, we need to now create a new animation clip. So to do that, we need to open up the animation window. Go to Window, Animation, and that's going to create the animation panel. Go ahead and snap this next to the console. With the sprite of the player selected, we're going to create a new animation clip. Select Create, and where do we want to save this animation asset? We want to save this animation asset with our characters. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create we're going to go into sprites, we're going to go into characters, and within our player here, we're going to create a new folder called animations. We're going to have several animations. We're going to have a death, a fire swing, a hit, an idle, a jump, a run, and more. So we want to make sure that these are going to be very organized. So let's create a new folder underneath our player, and let's call it animations. This first animation that we're creating is called idle. We'll save this. And you'll see here that that created inside our folder structure of player a folder called animations. It created two things, an idle animation and a controller called sprite. If you select your sprite, it added an animator controller. And inside that controller, if you double click it, is our idle. And the reason why it's orange here is because it is the default animation. So as soon as we hit play, it's going to basically idle. Now what we need to do is with the sprite selected, we need to create the animation. To do that, we're going to make sure that the animation view is on our idle clip. We're going to hit the record button, and we're going to drop down the idle sprites, and we're going to hold down Shift and select all of them. So click, hold down Shift, get all the frames, and drag it into here. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and stop recording. We can hit play to view the animation. Here you can see that it might be a little too quick at 60 frames per second. So what we can do is we can actually lower this down to maybe 15 frames per second. Let's go ahead and change the samples to 15. Hit enter. And you'll see here that that's a much more subtle movement. So when you're ready, go ahead and save your scene. Let's go ahead and go to the game view and let's run our game. What should happen automatically is that we're now in the idle animation. And there you go. Our player is idling. If we look in the animator, you can see here that it is looping on the idle animation. What we want to do now in the next video is we're going to set it up so that when we go to the right, he transitions to a walk or run animation. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'll see you then.